Hey, you beautiful beings. Welcome to Empowered Human with Nina Garcia. I am your host, and you are listening to the throwback episodes. Yeah, I have officially taken a pause on creating new episodes for the podcast so that I can focus on writing the book. It became very clear that while I have loved doing the podcast, I'm getting these episodes out every week to you all piecemeal. I was like, no more, no more. You all were like, please, please, can you get us all those skills and tools, Nina, in one area so that we can do the empowered human journey, so that we can really see what it's like from start to finish? To which I say, yes, absolutely. Let me get this to you. Yes. So what you're going to be hearing is this. You're going to be hearing throwback episodes from all 6 seasons, okay? It's not going to be every episode, so don't freak out on me yet. But it is going to be some of the episodes that were highlighted, that were popular, that we think, maybe you all missed and we want to bring it back. You're going to be hearing throwback episodes, and I am going to be listening along with you. I too want to hear about the journey and experience the journey that I had as we moved from Triggered Can We Play With That, the original podcast, all the way to Empowered Human with Nina Garcia. So you're going to hear personal stories. You're going to hear interviews. You're going to be given skills in every episode. Yes, you're going to be given tools in every episode for you to become skilled in. It is totally up to you whether you want to listen. If it's not the episode for you, skip to the next week, right? You just take what works for you, leave what doesn't. And if there's some stuff you're curious about, why don't you just go ahead and put that on the shelf? The podcast has always been about putting resources in the hands of people without needing to pay for it, right? And so this is no different. Even with these throwback episodes, what you're going to hear is this. We're going through, just as I said, you're going to still hear me talk at the beginning of each episode, letting you know, hey, we've had a transition. You're going to hear the original intro to the episode. You're going to hear the show music, and then you're going to hear the full original episode. This could mean that dates are off, that times are off, that people are talked about, that may no longer be in our lives, right? Just be aware of that. At the very end of the episode, you're going to see this face again come back to remind you that it was a throwback episode and to maybe offer you some adventure challenges as you move from week to week, right? Though the format of the episode did change over the years that we've done this podcast, the value is still there. So if you like something, definitely hit me up on Instagram at Drama Therapist Nina and be like, Nina, I love that throwback episode about XYZ thing. Yes, fill in the blank with that. Let me know. And if there's something that you're looking for in the meantime, also hit me up on Instagram at Drama Therapist Nina and let me know. Otherwise, stay curious and enjoy the ride, folks. I'll be right along there with you. Welcome to Empowered Human, the dramatically playful podcast that invites you to heal humanity, the one within you, me, and the world at large. I'm your host, drama therapist, empowerment specialist, and not to mention empowered human, Nina Garcia, and I'm so stoked you're joining me on the journey. Every Wednesday, you are invited to explore transforming from powered to empowered with genuinely human stories of courageous existence, healing from invalidation, and truly belonging to you. So wherever you are on the spectrum, from empowerment curious to empowered human ambassador, this podcast is designed to humanize. Get ready to lean into your edge, heal your worldview, and finally belong to you. This is Empowered Human. Hey you, Nina here. This episode is gonna get real personal. It's got a story from me. You may have noticed I did not post an episode last week, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't know if I'll do an episode next week. I may wait until September hits. I'm going through some deeply personal stuff, and I'm gonna explore a little itty bitty piece of it in this episode. This episode is going to invite you to explore your comfortability with divorce. And if you've ever found the phrase, I don't believe in divorce, being said by you or to you, get ready to play with it. I want to invite you to have a journal on hand or a good friend to dialogue with what comes up for you in this episode. And for now, you know I'm curious. Are you ready to play? Let's take a breath. So today's story is going to be my story, and it's about to get real personal, y'all. So, my invitation is if you know me personally, get ready to get to know me a little bit deeper. If you know me as a client, maybe consider not listening to this episode or consider listening with the awareness that your therapists, we get to be human too. And if you don't know me at all, you just have heard my voice or seen my face, welcome, friend. We're about to get personal. So, over the last few months, I've been struggling with the process of divorce. While there is no lack of love between my husband and I, my ex husband and I, there was a lack of shared values and lifestyle. And while this episode is not going to be about exploring that, because I am not ready to explore the details of that yet, stay tuned. That may be coming in September. I am going to invite us to explore a phrase that I keep hearing. I've heard it on several different occasions said to myself. I've read it and I've heard it in groups said to other people before I even considered getting a divorce. And that phrase is, I don't believe in divorce. So it's curious to me because as a person who I would say really thinks about my decisions before I make them, some would even say thought for years about these decisions before I made them, and that I definitely made them in the best interest of all parties involved, that I may in fact be trained to make decisions in the best interest of all parties involved, that this is still a statement that has been said to me on more than one occasion. I don't believe in divorce, as I'm sharing with them the utter pain and anguish that is the process of divorce. Now, full disclosure, not everyone's divorce is utter pain and anguish. For some people, it's like freedom, right? And while I'm sure my partner and I would agree that there are some ways and moments of freedom in this that, and that ultimately it is absolutely the best choice for both of us, that there is still grief involved, that there is still loss involved. And so I want to talk about this statement because the human components that are involved in saying this are very curious. And so I want us to be a little curious about it. So before launching in, if you are a person who has said, I don't believe in divorce, you are welcome here. We're going to explore the statement and what's really behind it. And if you are a person who has experienced receiving that phrase, I don't believe in divorce, we are going to explore it so you can figure out how best to deal with this so that it does not become a trigger down the road that sets you off. When I first heard this, I emotionally shut down, was so triggered, I imploded, right? For those of you who are practicing noticing your triggers, we have explosion triggers and we have implosion triggers. And this was an implosion trigger. I had to sit with it for hours. I thought about how it did not make sense what they were saying. It wasn't logical, la 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 la. And it never became an explosion for me because I processed it. And so I want to give us the opportunity to do this. Let's dive in. When someone says, oh, you're getting a divorce? Well, I mean, I have to say, I don't believe in divorce. I really want us to think about that because saying, I don't believe in divorce, you might as well be saying, I don't believe in marriage, or I don't believe in skin color. And let me break down why. Physically, legally, right, with my eyes, I can see a divorce happen. I can see a marriage happen. I can see skin color, right? These are all things that exist in the world, whether we like them or not. Physically is not the only place, right? Emotionally, mentally, I can experience divorce. Mentally, emotionally, spiritually, I can experience marriage. Mentally, emotionally, spiritually, I can experience skin color. To say I don't believe in divorce, or I don't believe in marriage, or I don't believe in skin color is to invalidate someone else's lived experience. To say I don't believe ... has nothing to do with that person. It has everything to do with us. I being the operative word there. So I want us to be curious about this, because if we can accept that that's true, that if I say I don't believe in divorce, that it has nothing to do with that person, then that means we are putting our feelings and beliefs on that person. And that is a yellow flag for me. Why would we put our feelings and thoughts and beliefs on someone else? 9 times out of 10, because we want them to perform in a certain way. We want them to exist in the world in a certain way. And a lot of people don't want divorce to happen. I gotta tell you, y'all, I'm in that boat. I did not want a divorce to happen. I did everything in my power to make sure before I decided that divorce was the best option for my partner and our child, that I did everything that there would be no regrets. And I don't have any regrets. So let's connect with this and let's get a little curious. You and me, let's get curious about what would I really mean if I said that? What do we really mean when we say, I don't believe in divorce? Here's one option. I don't believe divorce is ever an option. That's option A. If you're the person who really believes that divorce is never an option, this means that you are okay with abuse, neglect, mistreatment, adultery, all sorts of things. If you believe that divorce is never an option, then you have to be okay also with somebody struggling in their own life in that marriage. Now, what some of you may say is, oh, no, Nina, they can separate, they can go their own ways, but they can never be with another person. Okay. I want you to think about that. And if you're the kind of person who believes that, I want you to let that sit and accept that that belief says that person can never be with another person again unless it is going to be against whatever that belief is, right? That says that divorce is never an option, that marriage, once it's done, that it is forever. And you will get no judgment from me. However, you are definitely going to get, just like I gave you, the invitation to explore that, because above all things, what I believe is that human beings live in many different ways and that there is no judgment from me on them, with one exception. If it harms themselves or if it harms another person. And so to hear that one person could be struggling or suffering or never be with another person for the rest of their life would say to me that that person is going to undergo harm, and I am not okay with that. I do not believe that we deserve to harm ourselves or other people, and that that is okay. So, if you are the I don't believe divorce is ever an option crew, there's some stuff to chew on and be curious about. But let's say you're like, no, Nina, come on. What I'm really trying to say here is,
I don't believe divorce is a first option. I'm just saying you got to make sure you did everything you could. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, yeah, I know what you're saying because I did everything I could, right? So this is curious. I'm going to actually open this one up a little bit more to couples that I've worked with and other things that I've worked with when we think about this one, right? Because when you say, Nina, I just meant I don't believe divorce is a first option, then that means that you're okay with potentially going to couples counseling, having the partners go to individual counseling. You're okay with separation so that they can figure things out potentially. You're okay with them even living in different spaces because divorce is not a first option and they're trying to figure that out. You would be okay with them having an open marriage potentially, if that's what helps, because divorce is not a first option, to see if that's what may help. And there are some other things, of course, that we could keep going into. But if you have balked at anything I've said so far, then really ask yourself, do you believe that divorce is not a first option? And are you drawing the line somewhere? For a lot of people, when I say, well, what about polyamory? Have you thought about opening up your marriage to see if maybe this is what you need? That is where I'll get that balking, right? And balking, for those of you who are like, what is this word, right? That body is like visual startle response. And it's like, oh, I don't know how I feel about that. That's not me. That's not my value system. And that is totally okay. But for those of us who, believe me, have tried everything to make this work, the last thing we want to hear is that you don't believe divorce is an option. We've tried. We've tried lots of things. And if you're out there saying, well, I haven't tried that, should I try that? Chat with your local therapist and see what is right for you. Because you all know, of all things, we are not here to judge, but I am here to challenge you to think about these really hard things, to really look at your value system and ask yourself, what means the most to you? What are you willing to sacrifice? What are you willing to change or to transform into something else so that it is beneficial for you and it is beneficial for your partner and it's beneficial for the other people affected by your relationship or by the dissolution or transformation of your relationship? So we've gone through A, I don't believe divorce is ever an option. We've gone through B, I don't believe divorce is a first option. And here is C, a potential other one. What you're really trying to say could be, I believe divorce is a last resort option. And if you're in that boat, I want to applaud you for your honesty. I want to applaud you for being able to realize that it's your belief coming from an I believe instead of I don't believe, right? I believe divorce is ... and still remembering that it's your belief. How does this now connect to this person who's experiencing the grief of divorce? Because if we can accept that divorce is a last resort option, then we can accept that that person now feels that this is the last resort for them. Whether they did everything that you would have done, or whether they did everything that they themselves would have done. And the reality is, it may be different from person to person. One person may be willing to go to couples counseling, and the other partner may not. One partner may be willing to do an open marriage, and the other partner may not. So here's my question for you for this upcoming week. Ask yourself, am I the person who would find myself saying, I don't believe in divorce? Or am I the person who's being told this by others? Now, of course, if it's not obvious, I'm inviting you to play with hard things. So if you are the person who finds yourself saying, I don't believe in divorce, I want to invite you to challenge yourself to clarify what it is you really mean. I gave you that ABC before. And the reason why I want you to clarify it is because if we accept that you saying, I don't believe in divorce is really, I don't believe it's ever an option, or I don't believe it's a primary option, or I believe it's a last resort option, whatever direction you're coming from. If we can accept that it's about you, then you can realize that in that moment with that other person who's expressing to you the grief that they're going through and this decision that they've had to make, which is an incredibly difficult decision, if you can accept that, then you can accept that you are either standing up for marriage and your beliefs around marriage, or you are standing up for the person in front of you that is experiencing the very human reality that comes with divorce. And I want you to ask yourself, do you want to be the kind of person who sits there and stands up for marriage as somebody's marriage is falling apart? Or do you want to be the person who listens and figures out how do you connect them to what's best for them? It may well be something that they haven't thought of to keep their marriage together. And if that's the case, come from that angle, from them, from what they need in that moment. But for some of us, it's the dissolution of the marriage that is really what we need. So when you hear us say it, what we need from you is validation of our experience. Validation that we've made the right choice because, man, did we think about it. And that it's our life moving forward. And you're there with us.
It's me again, reminding you that this was a throwback episode. I hope that you were able to take something from it, even one little nugget of wisdom, and use that between this week and next week, right? The purpose of these episodes is to give you tools. It is up to you to decide whether you want to become skilled in them. You picking up what I'm putting down? So take a tool, take something, a perspective, a moment, something that works for you, and use it in your life to transform hard conversations into teachable moments, to transform the way that you play with scary moments, right? To transform your life, to help make you the most courageous, most healing-oriented, most belonging person, right? No matter where you go, that you belong to yourself everywhere you go, right? Courage, healing, belonging, whatever it is that you are taking from this episode, take it with you so that you can get out there and live your most vibrant life, you beautiful human being, okay? All right, I'm signing off for now, but you know I'm gonna see you soon, okay? I'm gonna see you real soon. Bye for now. Thank you so much for being willing to explore healing your humanity on Empowered Human. I hope you found at least one new way to transform your worldview from powered to empowered. If you took something from the show, please take a moment of your time and subscribe to Empowered Human. And if it really nourished you, leave us a review. Your feedback helps me understand what our community needs. Not to mention, it helps others discover the empowered human life. So keep this last bit in mind. All the visual goodies come with me on Instagram at Drama Therapist Nina. Stay up to date there on upcoming episodes, behind the scenes goodness, and reels dropping knowledge. Thank you again for being part of the empowered human community. Until next time, stay curious.